veggies. Thanks for watching the replay. Thank you for hugging your friends. I was hoping that maybe if I started with the quote on the screen, that it wouldn't be so blurry. But as you know, my phone hates Periscope. I do, because my phone's always dead. So my phone's always dead. So I had to bring out my old phone that was like kind of broken. And so I just use it for Periscope sometimes whenever I know that I'm going to have like a dead phone. So thank you for hugging your friend, Sandeep. Thank you. So you're on the charger right now though, so that's why I'm like at this angle and you're going to be sideways. But I think the comments will like come up over here, so it'll be okay. Okay, so how is everybody doing tonight? How are you doing? What are you up to? Or it's night for me, but it's not too late yet. I'm going to try to go to sleep at a decent hour. Oh, this is like not a comfortable position. This pillow is in my way. You just woke up. Oh my gosh. What time is it there? I noticed that my Twitter things have not been going out on my Periscope, so I don't know if people ever actually find these scopes via Twitter, but it's 8:03. That's not too bad. It's not too early. Hey, Dream, how's it going? Welcome. Share with your friends if you would like to invite them to a talk. And hi, Daddy in Trouble. So we're going to go over the quote of the day and a talk, because I think it's needed right now. I did the meditation with Kino Yoga just now. If you're not following her and like you do yoga, you probably want to follow her because she's like really smart and very experienced in yoga. And they're doing like a month of meditation challenge. So, hey, Betamin, how's it going? Thanks for thanks for hugging 3 of your friends, Dream. So, if you're new here, let me know, and that way I can learn, or I can try to learn your name, and I will introduce myself. And I guess since there may be other people watching this replay, my name is Lisa, and I'm a yogi blogger. You're new, Jamie. Okay, that was going to be my next question, was what was your name? So thank you, Jamie. And now I can see your face, so that helps me, because I'm a visual learner, so. Hi, hello everybody. How are you doing this evening? My name is Lisa, and I'm a yogi blogger, which I tend to actually be better at scoping rather than blogging because I like to talk, not necessarily like to type. But everything that I find that is interesting to share, I do put on my blog, boxedge.org. And on Periscope, I like to share with you quotes, inspirational talks, and sometimes how-tos for yoga and essential oils and just everything in my life. So yeah, that's me. If you would like to tell me a little bit about yourself, then I do like to actually know about you. I'm not really the type to just talk and not want to even discuss anything with you. So if you have anything to say, comment right here and hug your friends if you think that they would like this talk as well. Okay, so the quote that I get is, I like don't know where to look because I just realized like normally the camera is over here and now the camera is over here. So I keep looking over here and I'm like, wait, there's no camera over here. The quote comes from a book, a Zig Ziglar book. I'll show you the front. It's called Inspiration 365 Days a Year. There is actually an Amazon link to this on my blog if you are interested in getting it. It's pretty good. It's had a lot of good quotes and they seem to be very good timing, and this book was meant to be in my life apparently. And today is February 6th as far as I understand. So today's quote comes from John Paul Richer, and it says, people will not bear it when advice is violently given, even if it is well-founded. Hearts are flowers. They remain open to the softly falling dew, but shut up in the violent downpour of rain. So that's a pretty long one, but I think that it's pretty, self-explanatory and pretty clear, but I'll read it again just in case. So people will not bear it when advice is violently given, even if it is well-founded. Hearts are flowers. They remain open to the softly falling dew, but shut up in the violent downpour of rain. And it's by John Paul Richer. Hey, Castle Thomas. Did I say that name right? I don't remember if I've seen you before, so welcome. So what do you think of that quote? Before I kind of give my feedback on that. Do you like it? Do you feel it speaks to you? Have you experienced that? I think it's really good, and it's really amazing how I don't open this book every day. Yeah, it is pretty self-explanatory. And do you feel like it's a good reminder, Jamie? Yeah, I do really like the analogy. It really helps remind us, I think. Yes, we shout out mine when someone rude or violent. You mean shut out mind. Okay. Yeah. And also think of it in the flip side too, because that's where I'm going to go with this, Sandeep. And you'll hear what I'm going to say in a second. So I don't open this book every day, even though I actually really want to, because I really want to read every single quote. But I don't have issues with this, but I know other people that do. And okay, and so Jamie, so then I think that it will be interesting to hear your feedback on my interpretation of this coming up. So I hope that you're going to be here for a little bit. Hi, Arlen. Arlen, you missed the quote, so I'm going to read it one more time. It says, people will not bear it when advice is violently given, even if it is well-founded. Hearts are flowers. They remain open to the softly falling dew, but shut up in the violent downpour of rain. By John Paul Richer. And so most everyone so far has said it's pretty self-explanatory and true and makes sense. And usually, definitely one thing I have found is that most people on Periscope seem to be the people that get this, at least on my Periscope, maybe not other channels. But most of the people that walk into my life on Periscope, they seem to have this understanding. And so I'm going to challenge you in a minute. But what I was trying to say, exactly, boobs, bobs, open. Yeah, that's when the violent downpour of open boobs comes through, then all of the beautiful flowers just close up. But I don't open the book every day, and so it's really incredible how the times where I really need to hear something and other disgusting stuff. Exactly. That's just the boundary that I set that I'm okay to joke with. And when I really need to hear something, open book. Yes! Oh my gosh, Joe. Yes. Okay, that's totally happening now. You can now tell me open book. I don't see them trolls much these days. I don't get hardly any, and one reason that you may notice that my scopes are really not trolled is because I'm very proactive in blocking followers after every single scope that I do. After every single one, I look to see if any of the Russian sex bots have added on my stuff. So I try really hard to keep this a really safe and clean environment for you so that it doesn't distract you, because even though you may be at peace with yourself and not really let them bother you, just it being in front of you, it is doing something. I asked one of my lady friends to show me her mind. I like that. So Joe, though, Joe had I like that, so anytime I had accidentally blocked Sandeep. I went so crazy on blocking. You have a wonderful book that you think I'd like. Oh, in a daily reader? Well, definitely, you can type it into the comments, but Jamie, if you want to also, I collect suggestions on Simple Abundance, a day nook of comfort and joy. I've never heard of that one. Okay, I'm going to try to remember to watch the replay, but sometimes I forget what I'm looking for at the end. So if you have the time, then you could go to boxedge.org, and if you click on the tip jar, I accept mental and monetary tips. So like any books or quotes or like suggestions, I have a little comment box in there, and I love it if anyone shares anything with me there, because then I know like what to learn from next. I started this in November when it was my birthday, and I asked everyone for mental tips, and I got so many, like a super long book list, and I've been hoarding it. I have forgotten to share it with y'all, but it's coming. I just haven't done it yet. Hi. So yeah, so if you have a chance to do that, then that would be super fabulous, awesome. And Joe, now everyone in my scopes are allowed to say open books. And anytime you say open books, I will grab one of my books and I'll read you a quote. So I will open books. Read The Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. Okay. Oops. Okay, I have to write that one down too. So I definitely have to watch this replay. But seriously, if you do go there, then I really, really appreciate it. It's an awesome book. Well, apparently I'm going to have lots of books to open, so there's going to be lots of open books. Joe, you have created a monster. Open mind at the same time the book is open. Exactly. Well, that's definitely what happened tonight, so we'll get to the question now, because I definitely needed to open my mind, and I may sound like I'm talking in code because I kind of want to, but that's what's going to be needed. You have over 400 books. Oh my gosh. I was not a reader until like this year. I really didn't read anything. Book-wise. I read a lot on the internet. I do a lot of research. That's how I learn. I just like absorb it all. But I do watch a lot more videos and listen to stuff. Maybe, but more than that. Wow! So, I really needed to hear this today, and I'm hoping that maybe it will help you too. And the reason that I am saying I'm going to flip this, self-help, improvement, people success. Yeah, that's the type of books I read. There's really not any other types. I don't think I own other types of books, unless they were like from college and I had to read them. So, when you said that it kind of resonated with you, novels and yes, self-helps and aviation. Oh yeah, I forgot you are you a pilot, right, Sandeep? From like the 2 comments that I've been able to read of yours. And by the way, do you think this will resonate with your friends, then please hug your friends and make sure that they get this message, because I don't think that my Twitter stuff, it has been going out, because a little notification keeps telling me every time I start a broadcast that there's something wrong with my Twitter. So I don't know if it worked or not. So when I say if you flip it, so it makes a lot of sense to us that we do not take advice well if it's like a violent downpour. So we understand that we shut out whenever people like violently downpour stuff. Okay. But have you ever considered being the downpour? Because I completely believe that there is such thing as a violent positivity downpour. Does that make sense? And the reason that this was really powerful for me tonight is that when I see others suffering, I want to help them so much, like, and it's just like my heart explodes into a million pieces, and I want to just give, and tell them, yes, that is, yes. But I have learned that you cannot help people by just, like, overwhelming them with help. And so I think that this quote was meant for me in the way of myself being the thunderstorm. And I'm curious to hear if you look back and think of advice that you have given, good, or like any type of advice. And have you ever been that thunderstorm, or are you always that light dew? Because, being honest with myself, I am very rarely a light dew. Even on Periscope, I mean, I am not really one to say, well, here's an idea. I'm more like, why are you not doing this, you know? And I really had to listen to this lesson this evening, and sometimes I notice that when I have to deal with other people and I can see problems very clearly, I'm very good at pinpointing like causes of stuff, and just like in yoga, like I am very connected to my body, so I can find the source of many things. And in teaching, I can find reasons for blockages in my students' progress, and in my family, I can see what causes much of their discomfort and unhappiness. And in friends, I can see what is really making them unhappy, and many times what they're doing to themselves that is making their reality kind of a hell. And how I deal with them, typically, your perception is different. I would like to hear how your perception is, because it's kind of tough. So, Jamie, I don't know when you went out, but I'm hoping that maybe you heard the flip side. But if you didn't, let me know and I'll repeat it. And so, when I see all of these things in people, oh, no, that's okay. So, how I flipped it around, Jamie, is that many times we understand that we take in advice better as a softly falling dew, as the quote said, rather than like a violent downpour. But my question to you was, are you ever a violent downpour to others in a positive way? Because sometimes we can get so excited to help others that we give positive advice, but like in a like super crazy, overwhelming way. You get what I'm saying? You don't give advice unless asked. I offer help and let the person decide. And that is the way to go, Arlen. Hey, Jules. So, Jules, we're talking about the quote of the day, which literally is linking directly into the question that I asked. Yes, I'm pretty sure I've done that. Okay, so that's how I want you to really think about this quote then today. So maybe the quote isn't made for you to be like, winning, I got this, I totally understand. And instead, like, see the change that you can make in your actions so that others can feel that light, positive dew. Today, men and women do think differently. Today, my kids and I saw a woman stuck in the snow under his grocery cart and said, why wouldn't we help her? Why wouldn't you help her? Or did you help her? So, Jules, just to catch you up, the quote is, "People will not bear it when advice is violently given, even if it is well-founded." Oh, that's very nice of you, Joe. Like, in case you didn't want to help. I understand now. I get it, actually. People will not bear it when advice is violently given, even if it is well-rounded. Hearts are flowers. They remain open to the softly falling dew, but shut up in the violent downpour of rain. And Jules, I was saying that I think most of us all get it as like a incoming advice train, but many of us need to switch it and see if we're throwing advice like thunderbolts. Lightning bolts, thunderbolt. What is a thunderbolt? I just realized that word doesn't really make any sense. Okay. And so when I deal with others, and because of the type of personality that I have, it's very, very hard because I internalize all of the emotions and the feelings and the energies that come off of others. So when I have somebody around me that I can see is suffering, I can feel their suffering, I just literally like have this like absorption. I'm like a dang chia seed that just like sucks it all in. We are the same person. Jamie, I'm like a Scorpio, so I think that has a lot to do with it, and multiple other things, but I'm curious if we have that in common too. And the other person may not be aware that you have these emotions because you are internalized. I am a sponge. I am a super sponge. I am like the superfood of emotions. It can be very tough. And for most of the people that are in my life, I usually attract others that are not like this because other sponges don't really... I am the sham wow. And usually, like, people that are spongy don't really attract other sponge-like people. I don't really know why that is, but it's very common that I see other people that are sponges and we just don't, like, we're not, like, best friends. But the people that I do, like, absorb into my life normally need some weight taken off of their shoulders. However, I'm not saying that it's a good thing to be a sponge because there's a certain limit of being sponge-like that you need to find. Exactly. It's like, instead of being a sponge that holds stuff, you need to be a sponge that does get wrung out, like a sham wow, you know? You need to be more a filter if you're going to be anything. And that's a really big change in mindset that I've had to take on really recently. I was a sponge up until maybe 6 months ago, and that sponge almost sent me to the grave. I'm trying to learn to accept it, but it sucks. And because, Jamie, you may be trying to accept it in the wrong way. Like, know how to use it. Know where you are in the process. Like, you're not the end of the line, and that's usually where we sit in thoughts. We need to know how to, like, send it out. Use it as a tool instead of a reaction. Exactly. And so that's what I've had to do. And I know that my mindset has changed. I'm definitely more the listener than the talker in most of my relationships. It's funny because I'm a little bit of both. I don't know. I'm not really one more than the other. But if you are, really taking in others' emotions, such as I'm giving the example of, and you really feel like people need advice, then you should be that filter. You should, be there for them, because obviously sometimes people need to, like, it's like when you imagine, what the heck would you fill with like a bucket or something. Men and emotions. Really? Sand. I know, I'm trying to think of sand. I think sand would be a good one. So, if you... it's not working. I don't have bucket ideas. Why am I, like, running out of bucket ideas? Okay, well, we're gonna go with buckets of sand. The sea sponge filters its nutrients too. Exactly. So, okay, you have a bucket of sand that you got at the beach, and you want to get the seashells out of the bucket of sand. Like, obviously, they're going to be, like, crushed into the sand, and you want to get them out. Well, it's going to take you forever to find the seashells in the bucket of sand if you're just, like, digging in your bucket and, like, oh, here's a shell, okay, and then keep digging, because all the sand is gonna keep falling back down. And then okay, you know, I like the sand one, but I'm gonna say the one that I actually have experienced, and I don't know if you have you ever gotten those, like, $5 DVDs at Walmart? They have them, like, all tossed in, like, this giant bin. This one I've got more passion about for some reason. Imagine putting golf balls into a bucket and fill there's still space, so you put in rocks. Hold on. Wait. You might not get where I'm going. Okay, yes, Joe knows what I'm talking about. So you have this, like, thing of DVDs, and they're, like, stacked high, and there's so many stupid ones in the $5 bin. You notice the space they put in sand. They have movie candy in those Walmart bins also. We're not going to go with candy, so I don't think of chocolate right now. So I got these DVDs, and they're all in this bin. But most of them are, like, super dumb, like, rot your brain watching them movies. I've got the plan now. This is going to work out. Bear with me, but I like where you're going with it too, Arlen. That was in a different direction, but I'm feeling you. Okay, so you want to find that one movie that you saw on the outside, like, listed, like, that it's possibly in this bin, such as, like, Happiness in Your Mind, but you have all those crap movies that you gotta, like, filter through first. Well, most people at the store go through that bin, and they just, like, do this. They're like, oh, what's in here? What's in here? And they just keep putting them down, and so the same movies keep being on top. You know? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Do you want to know how I found the $5 movies in the past? Exactly no direction. Okay, I am the weirdo. This possibly has to do with the OCD thing, but that's okay. I got some really badass movies for $5 in my past. Instead, think of if you had a friend who could hold the movies that you didn't want while you found your movie, like the one movie that you wanted in the bin of, like, 150 movies. That would be a lot easier, right? Or the shopping cart. I happen to just put it into the bin next to it, and I would make really clean stacks, and by the time that I was done finding my movie, the whole bin was like in a Tetris. Dump those movies in the next bin, yes. And so there's two ways. Yeah, that's a good way too, yes. See, you got it. You wouldn't look at me like I was weird in Walmart. Do you know how many people see me at the store if I do this, and they're like, what is she doing? And I'm like, I'm not wasting my time looking at the same DVD 15 times because it keeps piling back into the hole that I'm digging like a little dog at the beach. They look at me also. And so that is the idea of the, you know, you being that sponge. You're the shopping cart, or you're that other bin in this situation. I know, I don't even go to Walmart anymore. I can't. But I'm so glad that I figured this out, because that is totally what's happening. So many many people in my life, they are those, like, can I say clusterfuck? Sorry, that's like the best word I can think of. They are that in their mind. So imagine, like, that's their heart and soul all like a hot mess, and they have no idea how to be happy or like how to take care of themselves or whatever, like the thing that you know that they're missing, that you can be there for them to help them find. So my students, I help them find, you know, their acceptance. For my family, I help them find their sanity. I don't even know. Exactly. And so, well, here's the thing though, is that just as like the shopping cart idea, I kind of like the shopping cart version, because you're the shopping cart. Your friends or your family or whoever these people are that you're dealing with. So I'm just going to say the person that you're dealing with. If you're that sponge, you may get handed a lot of stupid stuff that like doesn't make any sense at all. And a lot of times they might try to hand you like 7 and you're like, I have my hands full, hold on. And you're just piling more and more and more and more in that shopping cart. And that's okay, as long as you remember you're not buying those DVDs. You're not buying what's in that cart. You're there to help the person filter out the crap, and you're the one that is able to put it where it belongs after. Zig Ziglar said, garbage in, garbage out. You want a good life, put good things in your mind. Yes, and so I'm not saying that you should internalize these things that people are giving to you. And so if it becomes too heavy, if your cart is overflowing, then you need to like have your friend find a different, you know, cart. Uh-oh, I think I'm the guy handing you the crappy movies. Oh my God. And I think that's a really good step in the right direction, Joe. Like, just noticing that, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. And here's the hilarious thing is that you can be both. I'm a sponge, but I also had a huge tendency to push off my aggression to others. And so it took me a really long time to realize this, and it's still not quite there. I still have things that I do that I don't realize that I do because I get, like, aggravated. I don't speak that language, but hello, if you speak English, I would love to chat with you. Yes, it can get so deep, Arlen, and so this was, like, really on my mind. And this is good because, okay, so here's the moral though. So right now you're just like a crazy person in Walmart with a giant shopping cart full of crap DVDs. Is this your life? Because that was mine for a while. And I was walking around life with a crap full of dumb DVDs. Hell no. But you can change that. You can put them away. You can let go of the crap DVDs. You can say no. You can either decide not to be a shopping buddy, or you can help others filter that crap and then put it back. Let it pass through. Don't let it weigh down your shopping cart. Don't let it fill up the space of you. Because if you're that filter, if you're that sponge, you need more and more room to take more and more in. Because you know where the trolls... No. What? You need to be able to, like, clear that out so that the next time that you go shopping, you can have other DVDs that are crap be put in there, and then you can put them away. And so I really hope this is making sense, because sometimes when we deal with people, You can't add more to fill a cup. Exactly. And so that was where I was getting with like the whole bucket idea in the beginning, is that sometimes like maybe the people in your life, their cup is just like overflowed with other stuff, and they need your help to kind of like hold some of that other junk for a moment, and then that way they can find the right thing in their life, and then they can organize it back the way it needs to be. But if you can't handle that, then know that. And how does this relate to the quote? Well, people hang on to crap and don't know it yet all the time. I'm sure that I have a lot of crap that I hold on to. How does it also relate to the quote? The quote about the advice is that a lot of times we're the person in life that's the sponge, and we somehow ended up with this shopping cart full of garbage DVDs, and we didn't realize what we signed up for. We didn't realize like how we got there. And we get so overwhelmed by this like heaping mound of like junk in our cart that we just like start like blah blah blah, like we start just going crazy with like, well, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? And imagine like the person was like not picking the right movie or something, and so you're telling them like, you're doing it wrong, and I think that it would be better if you do this, and I think it's actually a better idea if you start over in the left corner, and that would be a lot better for you. You may have really, really good intentions, but sometimes you just simply being there and like accepting that load of dumb DVDs into your shopping cart is all that's needed. That could be the advice that you gave to them, so small, but they're going to accept it more. They're going to get less frustrated by that experience. Room full of mirrors, so I'm surrounded by greenness. Oh my gosh. That was very corny. So it kind of had, I guess, two lessons. So the first lesson is that if you're a sponge and you're taking it all in, make sure that you're like, dumping it out after they have let it filter through them. But also remember that a lot of times if you are the one that wants to help somebody and you need to deal with others in your life, by just like going really, really hard on them isn't necessarily going to do either of you any good, because it may be too much for them to handle. And this happens to me all the time. I can see where I could name off 20 things that would help someone. 3 lessons, not 2 today. Yes. Oh, wait, what was the other lesson? I thought you meant like lessen your lessons, but that's a good sentence. I'm going to use that one. Lessen your lessons. But really like think about it before you open your mouth. Like sometimes just being quiet and maybe only giving one piece of advice that might not be accepted. I learned because the guy, you're the guy with the guy with the crappy DVDs. And so Joe, I would say what I wish that my DVD finders would understand is that sometimes you may get advice about how to pick out those DVDs, and sometimes you may feel like it's like somebody judging you. Silent moral support may be the best advice. Yeah. And so Joe, if you ever feel like you're getting like judged or like overwhelmed, then maybe like ask that person like what they're really trying to do, because they may end up just telling you like, I just want to help. And chances are they're really serious, but they don't understand that they're being like a downpour of positive advice. And it took me a really long time for me to understand that, and it takes so much more patience, because right now, like, though the my situation that I'm thinking of, at least for this quote of today, I have some negativity that was dumped into my cart, and it sucks. I don't like it. I don't like really hauling around all that negativity, but the moment that I remembered that I could just let it go, that it's not, I don't have to buy those DVDs, like, I'm just the filter, so, like, I'm okay now, I'm cool, like, I'm totally alright. If I was supposed to have patience, I would be a doctor. What the heck, Arlen? Did you take, like, your joke pill today? And once I remembered that it's not personal, you know, then I was able to just lightly give a piece of advice, and even though it was totally shot down, like, immediately, I didn't go into, like, full ammo mode and was like, bang, 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 like, this is gonna make you happy, this is gonna make you happy, this is gonna make you happy, like, shut up and listen, you know? No. So, maybe that will help you, because it really helped me, and even though I could feel really shitty right now, I don't. I feel like okay. And I wish that some of the people in my life weren't suffering as much as they are, but I'm not taking it personal, and so that's from the 4 Agreements. You should really read that if you haven't. And I'm able to remember that I am trying to water my flowers. That goes with Gretchen's idea of inviting your flowers. I'm trying to water you right now, too. Yes, exactly. So, and that's why I know many times some of you probably think, like, why does Lisa even bother with all of these, like, terrible people? Like, I know if I was watching my scopes, I'd be like, how does she find these, like, situations and these people? But the thing is that I know that in the long run, the more that I send my heart and love to some of these withered flowers, it will be way more special and important in my life than me just going to a bunch of green pastures and, like, just watering all the green grass. If that would be the case. Hey, Jules, again. So, that was my talk. I think most of you seemed to understand where I was going with that, and I'm so glad that this book, like, gave me that quote, because I really needed it. I cried during the meditation tonight, and I actually think that my yoga class, it did actually start to open some of the parts of my hips, and I don't know, this could be just me, like, blaming stuff, like, that has nothing to do with it, but I have heard that as you release the tightness in your hips, you're at the watering hole. Like, are you drinking? or an actual watering hole? I heard that, yeah, if you start to release your hips, that it actually starts to release, like, trapped emotions, and so I feel like I might have to, I guess, like, my yoga teachers should know. I guess they really should understand, but I cried during Shavasana today, and I was like, oh gosh. And I'm, like, trying to turn over, and I was like, okay, that was good, okay. Why did I wear eyeliner? And then I, like, cried during meditation, and I haven't actually been crying lately, like, which sounds weird, but I mean, I used to cry, like, every day. Yeah, so, I think it definitely broke something free, and then I did have an issue tonight, which ended up also making me cry, so today was very crying, and I really needed this talk, so I'm really glad that y'all were here, because, I kind of wanted to smile, and this quote really helped. Now I imagine these, like, flowers I don't know. Do you have tight hips, Joe? And honestly, a lot of guys do have tight hips because a lot of guys hold in their emotions. So you might. And you know what? It's okay. I noticed that, like, my teacher didn't look at me weird whenever I'm pretty sure she saw that there was, like, tears all welted up in my eyes. But, I may have a lot more... I may have, like, a lot more than, like, an average person. And, like, she was really, really shocked with how tight my hips were. Like, she literally said that she wanted to, like, research some stuff in a book because she didn't understand how certain moves that we were practicing actually, like, I felt it in the fronts of my hips. So I was kind of like, dang it. No such thing as an average person. Yeah, that's very true. You had people start bawling. I probably could have bawled, Jules. And it's something that I noticed that I am still growing and releasing my emotions because I don't judge myself at all as far as how I look. Hello again, Sandeep. I don't judge myself at all as far as how I look anymore. It's just not something I'm judgmental about. Like if my hair is sticking out, like, and it doesn't make sense to be out there, then, I know I won't block him. Then, I'll fix it. But, it's not the same type of judgment as I have known so well in the past. So I don't judge that. However, and like I noticed that I didn't judge myself as far as where I was in the positions, and I was really excited actually to be the idiot in class. I was like, I have a question. And normally, like, I used to be the person that was like, oh, I already know that. And instead I was like, is my back supposed to be doing this? Am I supposed to be putting my heels here? Is my leg straight? And then, I found out things I didn't even know. Being the class idiot is more fun. I did feel a little bit bad for the two older ladies that were in my class because I think they were like, oh, again, should I not be the guy whenever I try yoga? No, you should be exactly who you are, Joe. You should literally change nothing. Just be yourself. And it will do the work for you. You just have to show up, and you just have to, like, not hold back, if that makes sense. Like, let it be. Don't hold it back. And I don't know if it's common to ask questions. That's the only thing I don't know. So it was only 2 other girls in the class with me, so that's why I felt very comfortable asking questions, because she was really, like, receptive to questions. But I'm assuming that maybe if it was like a really big class, it wouldn't be time to ask questions, But I really liked that today. It's easier on yourself, be your best friend you've ever met. Exactly. And so, but what I was saying, Gretchen's thing just came up on my screen, and then I looked down and I said her name instead of your name, Jules. But Jules, I did notice that even though I did not judge myself for how I looked or how I was practicing, that was the vibration from Gretchen's Periscope notification. And I did not judge myself for, like, where my physical body was. I just accepted where it was. But when I was laying there and noticed all of the sadness wash over my body and, like, the tears starting to build up, I wasn't actively trying to hold them back, but I noticed that I was holding them back, if that makes sense. So there is something there that I still have, like, trapped and that I am not accepting in myself. And I think I guess a lot of times for me, because I have so many emotions blocked up in my body, it's hard to accept that I'm such a sad person. Like, I understand that emotions aren't me, and that's where I have to get over that. But, like, when at any given time, I could just, like, bawl. Like, I could cry my eyes out at any given time. It's very ingrained in my mind that that's not normal and that's, like, not okay. And so that's probably where I have to, that's probably where the change is needed. And once I let them go, I know I am human. And, you know, I think it's easier and easier as I meet more human beings. As I discover the human being race, then it becomes easier. They're electric. Yes, they are, actually. And that's why whenever you're, like, dehydrated and you need electrolytes, then that's because they go through those. Yeah, I know, it is such a rush. Apparently, I've been surrounded by aliens most of my life. I just never knew it. I'm so on the edge today. Hormones are huge. Maybe it's something to do with the moon. Oh, wait, I think it's a new moon tomorrow. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I would have to watch J-Ma's scope again. I get so confused. From Georgia. What? What? You have what wrong? And seriously though, Joe, like, oh, they're aliens from Georgia. I think thoughts are electric too. Like your brain, patterns are electricity, so that would be where your thoughts are coming from. Oh, emotions are magnetic. I don't know, but that would make sense too, because you definitely draw in a lot of what you feel. So, yeah, so I need to, eventually I will not judge myself for crying my freaking brain out in class, I guess. I cry my brain out everywhere else. Like, my best friend, he thinks that I am nuts. He told me, Joga Girl, I wholeheartedly believed I was part alien? What did she say? I really want to know this, Jules. I have a confession to make. I never responded to Beach Yoga Girl's email that she wrote to me. Both of them. That's another fear thing. I'm too afraid to message her. To be honest, Jules, I don't think you're gonna get a response. And you might not like the response you get. It's like, it's not scary. It's just that judgment. We never know enough how to make a solid judgment. True. I don't know how to describe it, though. I don't know a word for Arlen. I agree with you. I just don't know how to put it into a word so that you knew what I'm talking about. Hi, Joey. Assessment. Okay, I'll try to use assessment from this point forward. I may need a reminder. The email, though, Jules, like, or one like it, a review. In review of my emotions, I don't know how to describe it. I just don't know what to say, because I am at a disagreement in the viewpoint that was given to me as a very generous teacher. And when I gave the disagreement in person, it was definitely not taken at all. Like, it was totally dismissed. And so when I received the email with the same teaching and was asked, like, watch this YouTube video, which there was nothing wrong with the YouTube video. My butt is, like, getting really sore from sitting sideways. There's nothing wrong with the YouTube video. It just it didn't resonate with me. It just wasn't something that was for me. And I would normally feel really, really comfortable. Like, obviously, I'm very open with all of you. You know exactly what I think all the time. But I noticed that if I said that again, it's like not going to be accepted. So I don't know what to say. Like, I'm at a loss for words is really what has happened. And I think that's pretty much been on my mind for a while. I think that is what I'm going to do. I just haven't had, like, the inspiration of like, it coming through well. Yeah, and I agree. And I think it's a sadness in me because my teacher, I feel like I'm going to almost lose that teacher, and, you know, maybe I shouldn't be trying to control that situation. Maybe it is time. But, Beach Yoga Girls has been my yoga teacher literally since, like, 3 years ago. I started doing the Instagram yoga challenge 3 years ago. Yeah. And I think that's my fear, is that it's not being taken at all. And I have links and explanations of my take on the certain situation in comparison to what I was given. But based on my verbal conversation, I know that it's probably not going to be accepted. And so that's why I haven't done it yet, because I don't want to face the negativity. It's almost like to the point where I felt like maybe silence was better, because I don't want to just beat a dead horse and, like, keep saying the same thing over and over. This is where perception and reality is unique in each person. Exactly. And I agree with that. And so that's why I have nothing wrong with what was, like, given to me, and I'm, like, super appreciative of, like, the time that was taken to attempt to help me. But I feel like it's not going to do anything with me saying the same thing over and over again. Exactly. And so maybe So she wrote that she didn't fit in and letting it go. Yeah, that's why I'm so scared of losing her as a teacher, because I really like what she writes. I know. I don't know. It's really tough. I told Evelyn about it, and, like, I kind of told her, like, the full situation. It's just it's too much for me to talk about on here, but I told her, like, the full situation, and she's like, well, why don't you just, like, tell her? And then I told her, like, what had happened in person, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, and that's why I really am cool with, like, having differing thoughts, and that's what she didn't accept. So what do you do on that situation? I guess, like, and it's so funny, the quote, so, like, the email that I wanted to write at the first, like, reaction was, like, going to be some serious downpour of rain. In a positive way. Like, I was like, oh, wait, like, okay, I totally get it, I understand where you're coming from, but this is how I see it, and this is how I understand it, and, like, watch this video, and, like, I had this whole thing that I was going to explain, and I realized, I didn't even type it, I realized before I even started to type the message, I was like, this is too much. It is going to be too much. And so I haven't found the do for me to send. Different paths to get there. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I really appreciated the other opinion, but it was like my opinion was completely disregarded, and so that kind of hurts. And even though I don't even care that it hurts, like, because I'm not like attached to any particular like mindset. Like, I'm not saying that I'm right is what I'm trying to say, but that I'm just like completely being told no, like, no way. That's hard to hear. She seemed very ready for criticisms, and I told her I have never even noticed when I'm criticized. Know your worth and value and who you are, and I do. And so that's why I'm like, I'm not upset by the email, but I would really like to respond. I would like to have a good conversation. And I guess I just feel like the door is closed right now, and so I don't know when it will be open. And I tried reopening it, actually, because what I was saying is I told Evelyn the situation, and like a month later, it's been like a month, she told me that her husband, yeah, and Evelyn told me that her husband had like wrote something that really like resonated with me, and my situation that I was like telling her happened. And so I went and looked at it, and I was like, oh, okay, like, see, this is like why I really opened up and asked for advice in the first place. And so when I wrote like a really long comment on the Instagram post, because I wanted to make sure at least they understood like why I felt like drawn to like try to learn from other people, and really kind of explaining. I didn't even mention like the email, but I was saying I think she can only share the things she really speaks to her, which is what we all do, and that makes sense. But I never got a response back on the Instagram comment either, so that's why I don't know if I want to reply to the email. But it's been on my mind a lot. Every time I like see her stuff, I think, oh, maybe it was actually her on her Periscope. Exactly, speak of the devil. So I don't know. I don't know what will happen. If I feel the inspiration, if I feel like I have found the right words to say, and not right, like, meaning, like, be right, but if I feel the words flowing through me, then I'm gonna write her back. But right now, I don't think that it's going to be worth the time of replying. Open books! Oh wait, let's open books. Here, I got one. Wait, oh, wait. That is not the right angle. Okay, Joe said open books, so we're gonna open books. I agree. And that's, Jules, because of that, like, I know that, and because of my response being, like, shut down, like, immediately whenever I had a face-to-face conversation, that's why I don't know what to say in writing. Like, it's gonna give even less value than a face-to-face conversation. So, like, I have no clue what to do. All right, open books. We're gonna open book for you, Joe. So I'm gonna just, like, flip through the pages and tell me when to stop. Ready, go. And wait. Oh, okay. This is it. I never say what I should have. Why not? Oh, look, you even have a, like, beautiful picture and everything, Joe. This is open books for Joe. Last page. Wait, did I stop on the wrong page? Joe, it says, I'd rather have roses on my table than diamonds on my neck. By Emma Goldman. She was an American anarchist. What? Why would they put that? So, maybe this is telling you something, Joe. I don't know how you interpret it, but I'd rather have roses on my table than diamonds on my neck. Interesting. I don't know how to take it, but how I would take it is, I don't know why she said that, really. Like, there wasn't really an explanation, was there? Oh, this book is Simple Wisdom. There is a link to it, actually, on my blog, too. If you go to boxedge.org and click on books, it's on the Amazon list. Simple Wisdom. It's just a little tiny quote book. This is the one we started with when I started scoping quotes. And then my mom got that other book for me. At least you have a good way to deal with the... Exactly. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have so much fun. Be like, okay, if you want me to open. Oh, jeez. I told you, you've created a monster. Oh, I wonder if Sandeep was hearing my heater earlier, too, because that's running. I mean, appreciate the simple things over... I think so, too. Because, like, I don't have any problem with diamonds at all. But sometimes, like, they're totally blown out of proportion, I feel. And I would say, like, a fresh cut thing of roses on the table would be way more important than diamonds on the neck, because it's like, that takes a lot of time and energy versus, like, going to the store and just, like, buying something. I know that you can just buy roses too, so, like, maybe that would take away from that point. So, and that was, like, she died in 1940, it said. That quote came from, like, a while ago. So I'm guessing, like, you would maybe have to actually go out and cut them back in the day. So I think that means a lot more too. That's why a lot of I don't really like gifts unless they are meaningful. One is thoughtful, the other can be status. Yeah. Although roses nowadays are so much status too. They are not necessarily better, both are beautiful. Yeah. And so I think it's like the background of it that's going to make a big difference. A great gift from Steven Singer Jeweler is a gold-dipped rose. It lasts forever. You know what also lasts forever? I'm going to show you. Oops. Here's your roses, Joe. Here's your roses for you. Moldy fruits. No, these last forever too. So these are wood. They're wood. I don't know if you... Oh my gosh, they're also very dirty. Thanks, haven't received roses in a while. You're welcome. So, they're like little tiny cut pieces of wood that are like glued together. I'm trying to remember where the camera is so that you could see into one. I think you can tell. And those last forever too. And ooh, oh, that's bad. I kind of want fruit now. I got these, like, they was so random. An ex-boyfriend of mine who, I guess we were just friends at the time. He decided he did not like me. We went to, like, some restaurant with his mom, and her friend was in the parking lot in, like, a total creeper van, and he was talking to this guy, and he's like, oh, this is my mom's friend. And then the guy looks at me and he's like, "You're so beautiful, like, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah." And then he's like, "Here, these are for you." And I guess he makes them. So, I know. I was like, "Oh, wow, thank you." So some random man that was like, this guy I wasn't even really with, mom's friend, gave me these beautiful roses. Like, these are the coolest roses ever. I don't think I'll be able to ever get rid of them. And I was like, okay. Like, I was like blushing. It was so fancy. Yeah. I'm really glad that that guy didn't like me, because I really don't think it would have worked out so well. Oh, dang it. I wish that I was on my scope phone, because I would actually share with you something really funny about that person that I'm talking about, but I can't, so that's alright. I'm gonna put these back. Those are your roses, Joe. My diffuser turned off. Okay. So, I feel a lot better. I don't feel like crying anymore. And I think that I really needed that reminder. Just drive by a local flower delivery truck. I know, right? How did y'all like this talk today? Did it resonate with you? Did you learn something? What is going on with my sock? Really, universe is right on. I agree. It was very good. Good. I agree. Sometimes y'all really get me compared to other people, so I really appreciate that, and it's helping. And tomorrow I have to remember to not be a thunderbolt. And instead, I'm going to be a light dew of positivity. Yes, you too. Okay, guys. Jules, are you wanting to read by any chance? Because I could do another scope and read one of the sutras if you want me to. With a Dutch guy holding a bouquet of tulip. You can tell me. And ponderitis. I have suffered from ponderitis much of my life. I tried to avoid it, actually, and more like let things be rather than try to think them and control them all. But if you would like, I could do... If you ponder and try to understand in like a controlling way, it can hurt, which is what I would do. We rented a movie, but you have time to read also. Okay. Well, I'll stop this scope, and then I'll get the Yoga Sutras out, since I'm still in chapter 2, since I totally like fell off the face of the planet last week. And I'll read that if you would like, unless you are wanting to read. You just tell me what you would like. Me do the sutras, or you start a chapter. Work out. He's gonna work out. He's gonna do some pull-ups, and then some cartwheels, and then some crunches. And you should have him do my dance. Oh wait, it's taken down. Just kidding. He can't do some lip push-ups. I feel like all I've done lately is buy groceries, but like I got my delivery on Friday, and then I went to the farmer's market this morning, got some squash because they didn't have it, and then I went to the natural food store that I haven't been to in Lakeland after that, and got some other stuff, and then they still didn't have bananas. What the heck? We can do both. Okay, cool. So I'll do the sutra first, and then I'll have you read after. And then I have a change. I'm just gonna say best friend because of a certain situation going on right now. Every day in the store it stinks. But my best friend, he wants to go to Whole Foods tomorrow. So I was like, well, maybe they'll have my bananas, but it's like an hour away, so I think I'm gonna go tomorrow, hopefully. if I can not be a thunderbolt. Alright, I'm gonna stop this so that everyone can get a replay that wants a positive quote and talk, and then I will start a new one so that we can talk about the sutras. Hey, Bruiser Brody, I'm gonna stop this, and then I'm gonna come back on in like 1 minute so that we can read some Yoga Sutras. So hopefully see you there. Bye, guys. Namaste. Love you. Fine, be that way. Okay, I'll be right back. All right.